KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And good morning. It is Wednesday, August the 14th. That calendar is just ticking along, man. Of course, I want to know how's school been for little Rooney?
Thank you. Yeah, she started yesterday. I know a lot of kids are starting this week. She came home. She was happy. Yeah. She had a good day and a lot of excitement for the week.
Good, good. Well, it is an exciting time, back to school time for everybody.
Yes. Judson ISD, welcome back, and a lot of private schools going back as well. And but of course, everybody going back and dealing with that heat again. So let's look out there with live cam. Now it's not too bad, Daphne.
Yeah, 81 degrees.
I don't mean to burst any bubbles, but the first day of school is always easy one, see?
Yeah, that is true.
That's when you start the homework's piling up. Got the pop quizzes. We ready for those?
Later, next week.
We'll worry about that next week. Yeah, the heat is starting to stack up too. We're seeing those temperatures really warm up. We've had 17 days so far this year at 100 or above. At this time last year, we had 48, and in 2022 at this point, we had 58. We had two really rough summers in a row, and this summer hasn't been as bad, but we are starting to stack up those 100-degree days. We'll likely see another one today. We're forecasting temperatures to be up around 100. You look at the visible satellite picture, clouds have filled in a little bit. That always helps. Right now we're looking at partly cloudy skies in San Antonio, and there are a few showers down there around Victoria, but that's where they stay. Like yesterday, anything that develops will be down there along the coast. Right now, 82 in San Antonio. Temperatures on their way up. It's 84 in Converse. That's the warm spot with a light south-southwesterly wind. In your forecast today, again, takes us up to around 100 with mostly sunny skies. We'll look ahead and talk about average temperatures, what you can expect as we go into the next couple of weeks. That's coming up in just a couple of minutes. Guys?
All right. Thanks, Justin. Looking out there with TransGuide. Looking there at I-10 at Provan, a little bit of a backup, that camera that just passed, and now looking at I-35 at New Braunfels Avenue. Wow, that was okay, but looking at San Marcos, be aware for I-35 right now. It's a little bit of a slowdown, might be the normal morning traffic hours, but if we see something specific, we will let you know.
All right, here's today's 9 and 9.
A mother and stepfather are in jail in connection with the death of their 12-year-old daughter. The Atascosa County Sheriff's Office arrested 36-year-old Denise Balbanetta and 40-year-old Gerald Gonzalez. Investigators say the child was suffering serious life-threatening injuries on Thursday night, and Balbanetta did not call 911 until Monday night. The child died that evening. Balbanetta and Gonzalez are now charged with injury by omission.
Prosecutors in the case against Brian Kohberger have objected to the defense team's change of venue motion. Kohberger is accused of killing 4 Idaho college students in late 2022. Prosecutors say that Kohberger has failed to argue that he would not receive a fair trial in the county where the murders occurred. They also say the change in the venue would not be convenient for people involved in the trial, including witnesses. A hearing to discuss the change of venue is set for August 29th.
The state of Texas is suing General Motors over data sharing. The state is accusing the automaker of installing technology to compile driving scores to assess whether Texas drivers had bad habits such as speeding, braking too fast, and not using seatbelts. Insurers could then use that data when deciding whether to raise premiums, cancel policies, or deny coverage. A General Motors spokesperson says the company has been in discussions with the Attorney General's office and says, "We share the desire to protect consumers' privacy."
A pilot with United Airlines is suing his employer for not accommodating his diet limitations in Colorado. The suit states that the captain has celiac disease and needs gluten-free food. And United has not only denied the captain's request for safe food, but also makes him pay for the meals even though he can't eat them. He wants United to supply food that suits his needs, as well as pay damages and reasonable attorney's fees and costs. So far, there's been no comment from United.
As another tropical storm bears down on U.S. territories, the Federal Emergency Management Agency says its disaster fund has run out of money. FEMA will only provide money for immediate needs for now. Officials hope Congress will pass a $9 billion supplemental request to help restore funding for its disaster fund. But Congress is in recess through the end of August. Despite the lack of funding, FEMA officials say they have enough resources to respond to impending disasters like Tropical Storm Ernesto.
The U.S. has approved $20 billion in arms sales to Israel. The deal includes scores of fighter jets and advanced air-to-air missiles. Congress was notified of the impending sale, which includes more than 50 F-15 fighter jets, advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles, tank ammunition, and high-explosive motors in tactical vehicles. It comes at a time of intense concern that Israel may become involved in a wider Middle East war due to the increased threats from Iranian-backed terrorist groups.
Eating an anti-inflammatory diet of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains can lower a person's dementia risk by nearly a third, according to a new study by JAMA Network Open Journal. Researchers say this decrease in dementia risk was noted for people who had other health problems, including type 2 diabetes and heart disease. Experts say this serves as a reminder to ease up on foods like processed meats and sugary snacks.
A giant discovery of prehistoric proportions after a fossil collector was walking along a creek in Madison County, Mississippi last week when he spotted something near the water. It turned out to be a 7-foot-long ivory tusk that came from a Columbian mammoth. They lived some 10,000 to 1 million years ago. Officials say that this makes the first mammoth tusk ever documented in Mississippi.
McDonald's is trying to lure adults in with Happy Meals of their own, dubbed the Collector's Meals. They come with one of 6 collectible cups that are decorated with designs based on Happy Meal toys, running the gamut from Hot Wheels to Hello Kitty. For a limited time only, you have 3 meal options that come with a cup, either a 10-piece chicken nugget meal, a Big Mac meal, or for breakfast, a sausage McMuffin with egg. And that's today's 9 at 9. Well, imagine trusting a daycare to watch your 4-year-old and then learning that an employee there punished your child by making him stand on his tiptoes while squatting.
So that scenario played out at an Atascosa County facility. State records say that the boy was forced to hold that position for possibly as long as 30 minutes.
It hurts and it gets me angry because it's not appropriate for him to be disciplined or any child to be disciplined in that manner, no matter what they do.
Well, KSAT Investigates Dylan Collier visited that daycare as parents continue to raise concerns.
The way he started acting at home changed. We started getting more complaints that didn't seem like his behavior.
Jessica Hirschlip says she is the mother of a, quote, wild child. Her 4-year-old son has been diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. Earlier this summer, he came home from Jerdenton's Shining Stars Daycare Center and described doing a tummy squat on his tiptoes. His parents recorded the boy's account of what took place.
Oh, they make you put your feet like that? They tell you to put your feet like that? Oh my goodness, that is not good, buddy.
The child, according to a June investigation by Texas Health and Human Services, had been removed from his classroom for a timeout and asked by an employee to stand still on a piece of tape on the floor. The punishment lasted anywhere from 4 to 30 minutes.
Like this. And they make you stand like that? Yeah. Do they make you stand like that for a long time?
And then quiet. You entrust your kids into a daycare to take care of these child and know that they're going to do the proper type of discipline. And for them to fail at doing that is that's the saddening part.
The boy's aunt, Lena Moreno, said it was common for daycare staff to isolate her nephew from his classmates.
I would go to pick him up and he would never be in his class.
Moreno says she had previously expressed concerns about the cleanliness of Shining Stars after her own 18-month-old son contracted a virus in May and was hospitalized. KSAT is not aware of any evidence indicating the conditions at the daycare center caused the virus. Moreno even offered to clean the classrooms on her days off.
The day that I did take him back, I talked to the owner myself, and I told her that I knew that it wasn't sanitary there, and that if they needed the help, that I was off the next 3 days.
She shared pictures with KSAT provided by a daycare employee showing bottles marked clean, still caked with milk or formula. Moreno eventually removed both of her children from the center's care and filed multiple complaints with Health and Human Services.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Dylan with KSAT 12.
Yes, sir.
Reached for comment, Shining Stars owner confirmed state licensing investigators had made 3 unannounced visits to her facility in as many weeks. She declined to say how long the 4-year-old was made to stand on his tiptoes or whether that staff member still works there.
I'm not going to speak till I've reached my attorney.
But did confirm a teacher had failed to clean bottles properly, and that issue had been, quote, taken care of.
A spokeswoman for Health and Human Services told KSAT via email, HHSC's top priority is the health and safety of children in child care operations they regulate. She then added that details about abuse and neglect investigations are confidential. Shining Stars Daycare Center remains in operation. It was cited for 3 deficiencies in all after the tummy squat investigation, including prohibited punishments and caregivers not demonstrating competency, good judgment, or self-control. No deficiencies were listed related to sanitary conditions at the facility. And Shining Stars, according to state records, had 0 violations in its 6 previous inspections. For KSAT Investigates, I'm Dylan Collier.
Now, of course, there is some more to this story. You can scan that QR code that you see right there if you want to read KSAT Investigates' full investigation into the tummy squat punishment. The story is also on KSAT.com.
Well, happening today, a man convicted of beating his girlfriend's son to death is set to be sentenced. Back in May, a jury found Daniel Garcia guilty of injury to a child for causing the death of 5-year-old Dominic Aguilar Acevedo. Now, last week, Aguilar was sentenced to 15 years in prison. The mom, for her role in the crime, she got a plea deal for testifying against Garcia during his trial. We will be live streaming Garcia's sentencing today. It'll be starting this afternoon at 1:30, so you can see it on our website, KSAT.com, or anywhere you stream.
So the Bexar County budget close to being finalized. Now, county leaders want to hear from you. Judge Peter Sakai will be joined by county commissioners to host 3 more budget town halls. The first one was yesterday, and the next one is tomorrow. You can find more information about these meetings on our website at KSAT.com.
Right now it's 9:10 and 82 degrees for now, still ahead on GMSA at 9.
Back to school is in full swing, and so are back to school scams. After the break, the signs that you should be looking for when it comes to them.
Welcome back. It is 9:13. While students start returning to class, back to school shopping is in full swing from supplies to new tech. However, experts are warning that back to school scams are also in this morning Visa, saying that they've seen a 71% uptick in chatter on the dark web related to the back to school scams.
So fraudsters trying to get money or personal information through scams like the emails or texts pretending to be from a school administrator. Then they got the fake scholarship applications and even back to school shopping sites that aren't legit and offer prices that are too good to be true. Key phrase there. But it's not just parents of young kids that need to be vigilant.
18 to 24-year-olds are more likely to fall for a scam. So it's a really good time to have a conversation, especially with kids going away to school, about online scams.
Well, experts warn to specifically look out for scams targeted at college students, like rental listings, where a student might put up a deposit and then the person they've been dealing with disappears.
You know, that's so irritating. I just,
hard.
when people take advantage of people, especially if you're a new parent getting your kid in and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm, struggling. Here's a good deal right here. I mean, these scamsters, they're getting more and more creative and it's just frustrating.
Yes, and then you have to deal with bouncing back from that scam.
Exactly, not having the money.
Back to school is already stressful enough. We don't need more stress.
Amen.
Don't do that stuff. And be careful, because those people are out there. I got another back to school picture for you guys. We showed quite a few over the last couple days. We showed his sister earlier, but yes, this is Teddy, 8th grade at Idea School.
Love it.
Nice.
They got swag, man. Look at that.
You. Repping the colors too. I like that. We appreciate it again, as always. And let's take a look at the month of August so far, where we've been and where we're headed. Last 3 days, we've been at 100. Steady forecast here, and I'm forecasting 100 again today. So we may go 4 days in a row here of 100 or above. And if you look at it, 8 or 7 of the last 8 days here, we've been at 100 or near 100 or above. So it's just been, we've been above average. It's been very, very hot. Now, what I'll tell you, when we look at average temperatures for the month of August. This is when we peak. This is when we see our hottest temperatures. 97 is the highest average that we have through the year, but we're just about to get through that period, and now we're going to be on the backside of things. So late August, the average temperatures actually drop a little bit. That's not to say that next week and the week after that is going to be cooler. It's not really looking that way, but when you look at the averages, it just gives you that idea that we can start to see some fronts in late August and September, and things will get better. So we got to power through a couple more weeks here. Rainfall potential, there isn't really any going forward, and it's because of our heat high, and this is the heat high that we love to hate so much. It has parked itself now over Texas, and that is directing everything up and around the ridge. And what I think is unfortunate here, you look at the rest of the country, they do have rainfall potential over the next 7 days. It's just basically us in California that are looking to stay dry. So that's just the way it goes sometimes with these heat highs. There are some indications that maybe it will start to shift west a little bit by late next week. We'll keep our fingers crossed for that. Otherwise, it is partly cloudy. We've got 82 at the airport, 85 in New Braunfels, 84 in Converse, upper 70s for Bernie and Kerrville. And our forecast today, 93 at noontime, 95 at 1 o'clock, 99 at 3 p.m. And we make our way up to 100 by 4 or 5 o'clock. Heat index, like the last few days, will be anywhere from 104 to 105. You look around the area, the feels like number will be in the triple digits for just about everybody. 105 in Canyon Lake, that's your feels like number around 4 or 5 o'clock. 108 in New Braunfels. So this is not fun weather to be out in, and unfortunately it does continue. So as we look at the extended forecast, we're going to go 100 tomorrow, 101 on Friday, and the heat high actually strengthens a little bit Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. For that reason, we've stepped up the temperatures just a hair, 101 to 102. I mean, what's the difference, right? 100, 102, it all feels the same. It all feels not so nice. But as I said, maybe late next week, there are some indications that maybe the pattern changes a little bit. Well, keep our fingers crossed for that. And coming up next half hour, we've got Ernesto out in the Atlantic. We'll show you where that's headed and how it may affect the East Coast a little bit.
I will say, I try to, stick it out. I'm like, it's not that hot. Try to convince myself, and then I hit my seats in my car. And it feels like
you're on fire.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, woo, Lord bless it. So it is hot.
Car line yesterday, I couldn't get my car cool enough, because it's just sitting there in the blazing heat. I had the AC on the whole time.
Yeah.
Yes, we have to take extra measures even inside our cars. All right, well, thank you, Justin. Time now is 9:18 and 82 degrees for now.
Everything from the inflation, big lot stores making an announcement, and the heat in the U.S. cities. Ivan Herrera joins us in the studio to talk about this morning's consumer headlines. Inflation is showing some signs of slowing down. Big Lots announces hundreds of closures, and it's not your imagination. U.S. cities are getting hotter for longer.
Well, digital journalist Ivan Herrera is here to break down those consumer headlines. Hey, good morning, Ivan.
Good morning, guys. We're going to be talking about cooling and heating, but let's start with the cooling. So inflation seems to be cooling, and that's a good thing. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reports in its Producer Price Index that price hikes slowed in July. Now, this index measures how average prices have changed by producers and manufacturers. Now, the PPI was up 2.2% for the past year in July, and in June, it was up 2.7% for the year. Now, this is important because we'll be able to see a bigger breakdown of price hikes today after the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics released its Consumer Price Index this morning. And Big Lots is announcing it's closing more than 300 stores across the U.S., which is about 4% of its locations. Now, the company warned in its June earnings call that it was suffering some financial issues and its future was uncertain. Now, Big Lots said then that it was planning to close as many as 40 stores due to a 10% decrease in sales and a $205 million loss for the quarter. However, a recent regulatory finding shows that the retailer is actually planning to close 315 stores as part of an updated loan agreement to secure its finances. And summers are getting hotter in the U.S. especially in cities where a total of 260 million Americans call home. So what's causing it to feel hotter? The urban island heat effect can add up to 20 degrees in city temperatures, and that's caused by things like buildings, roads, and sidewalks, which can radiate heat. All of the 50 most populated cities in the country have gotten hotter in the past century, and data from the International Institute for Environment and Development shows 3 cities are experiencing more extremely hot days above 95 degrees. Now, those 3 cities are Las Vegas, which has seen the biggest increase in days above 95, followed by us here in San Antonio, and of course our friends in Nashville, Tennessee. Like I said, guys, it's hot. And we were talking a little bit earlier. I was telling you guys, when I got in my car yesterday, I was feeling like I was melting, and that's how it feels right now. So what are you guys doing to cool down?
To cool down? Well, so when I'm going to be out of the car for a long time, I just take my umbrella.
Oh, that's a smart idea.
Yeah, so that helps, like, at least, for a long walk, if you got to, walk up to the school and pick up your child in the afternoon, that always comes in.
Oh, that is really smart.
I think we could just stay in the house. I'm
stay out
around.
Me and you.
Well, I will
same.
say, speaking of cool, my mom was going to be disappointed about the Big Lot deal because around Christmas time, she gets a lot of her Christmas decorations.
Yeah, perfect for Black Friday. I actually took advantage of some of those sales a few years ago.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Ivan. Well, time now is 9:25 and 82 degrees for now. There's a lot more ahead on GMSA at 9.
Including District 4 Councilwoman Adriana Rocha Garcia has announced she's running for mayor. She tells us the issues that she plans on focusing on in our next half hour.
Well, welcome back. 9:28. Well, a third San Antonio council member has announced that she is running for mayor next year.
District 4 Councilwoman Adriana Rocha Garcia spoke with KSAT and made her candidacy official in her interview with our very own Gary Berger. She tells him what's drawing her into the race.
In her third term as councilwoman, Adriana Rocha Garcia could run again to represent her Southside district. Instead, she's decided to run to represent the whole city.
Personally, I want to run because I want to help people. And it's going to be a difficult few years that are ahead for the city of San Antonio.
Though she believes the biggest issue facing the city is crime, Rocha Garcia also believes the city has some economic challenges in the near future. Sales tax and CPS energy revenues are both coming in low this year, she said, though KSAT was unable to immediately confirm the latest collections. And she expects less money will be coming down from the federal government. So while she wants to focus on things like public safety, neighborhood services, housing, jobs, and infrastructure,
the reality is that we also have to weigh out all of the areas where we will need additional support.
Rocha Garcia says she doesn't know if the other candidates are all thinking about those issues yet. Plus, she says she's a San Antonio native who grew up on the Southwest Side with parents who only spoke Spanish.
I'm dealing with realities that our residents are dealing with. I've raised a child on my own. I'm a single mom. Imagine how many single moms are out there trying to get ahead. I want to be able to work on their behalf and say, I've been there and I want to help you.
Rocha Garcia is already the fourth candidate in what's shaping up to be a hotly contested race. With Mayor Ron Nirenberg out because of term limits, the seat will be wide open for the first time in 16 years. The councilwoman said there had been lots of speculation about her plans.
So I thought that if I just let people know now, that they would know exactly what my intentions are and there was no confusion about it.
Well, the full interview with Rocha Garcia is on our website, so you can check out what else she had to say about how she'd use the power of the mayor's office and her thoughts about the controversial Toyota zoning fight in her district.
All right, let's take a look out at the city. Of course, we've been talking about the temperatures. You can't see the rays of the sun, you know, the little dramatic image that you always get from the haze going on right now. But apparently it is going to get toastier, right, Justin?
Can't see it, but you can sure feel it. Yes, it is going to get toasty later this afternoon. Hey, I got another back-to-school picture. This one sent in. It looks like from the grandmother.
Oh,
I love it. So right to left, that's Noah, Janaya, and Abrielle. Those are great shots.
How
and
cute.
They look excited. I love that.
Matching shoes.
Oh, yeah.
And outfits.
Yeah, looking good. And we wish you the best as you head back to school today. Of course, Judson ISD, one of the school districts, back in session today. Let's take a look at the visible satellite picture, and you can see the clouds that have formed. Hey, look, as much cloud cover as we can get, that always helps at least a little bit when it comes to these temperatures. And so far, we have seen some decent cloud coverage this morning. Those will thin out some as we head into the afternoon. Here's what I can tell you going forward. This is the temperature outlook for August 20th through August 24th. Basically, where you see that red color, it means we have an above average likelihood of seeing above average temperatures. Bottom line, it's going to be hot through the foreseeable future. The only cool stuff is going to be up there across the Great Lakes. In the tropics, too, we mentioned this earlier, we've got Ernesto out there. We're going to take a look at where he's headed coming up in just a couple minutes. Guys.
Thank you, Justin. Looking out there with the TransGuide. Looking at this right here, I-35 at Frost Bank Center Drive. We had problems here earlier, but it looks like that crash has cleared. On the TxDOT website, there's another one that has been reported. This is accident loop 410 East at Summit Parkway, so be aware of that. We have a lane blocked over there, and another collision reported at 35 at Cesar Chavez. But right here on this shot at TransGuide, things look good. Well, there is a lot of preparation for teachers who are about to welcome students into their classrooms. However, planning school days out isn't just curriculum for one local high school teacher and others like her.
She tells our Courtney Freeman about her type 1 diabetes and how she manages it while doing such an important and active job.
I was diagnosed March 23rd, 2007, so right before I turned 7 years old.
For 17 years, Taylor Schofield has learned how to cope with her type 1 diabetes. It's an autoimmune disease where the pancreas doesn't make insulin, different than type 2 diabetes. Type 1 is often diagnosed in children.
I went to the bathroom a lot. I was constantly drinking water.
Most kids like Schofield are immediately hospitalized, and their treatment plan develops from there. Commonly, it's a new technology pump like her Dexcom.
A Dexcom, I currently wear it on the back of my arm, and it uses, it tracks your blood sugar for you. And then my Omnipod I wear on my leg, and this is what lets me give myself insulin.
The device is a game changer for people like Schofield with demanding and active jobs. She's been a math teacher at Health Careers High School for 3 years.
The Dexcom will sync up with an app on my phone. So right now I can see that my blood sugar is 136, which also syncs up with my Apple Watch, which is really good when I'm teaching because I don't have to have my phone on me.
If her sugar is low or high, it lets her know.
And then I can deal with my class's need of, hey, do a problem, hey, take a break, talk with each other. I need to go take care of myself and then go right back into teaching.
She's also amazed at the unexpected little community she's found in class.
My first year teaching, I had 3 diabetic students, and this past year I started out with 3. My students' favorite thing was when there'd be multiple of us in a class, they'd hear a beep, and they're like, okay, who's beeping? Are you okay? Or Miss Schofield, are you good? I was like, yes, I'm fine. Give me a minute and I'll go eat like my snack or something.
Her colleagues are also aware, so if she needs help, she's got it. A reassuring thought so she can focus on what really matters, her students. Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
All right, guys. Yes, this is RJ coming to you right now. We are getting more dates on the calendar for the upcoming Spurs schedule. The full schedule is expected to be released tomorrow. Cannot wait for that. So we already know the dates for a few games, like the 2 games in Paris, where Wemby gets to go back home, where he just won the silver medal. And of course, Christmas Day, that matchup against the New York Knicks at the iconic Madison Square Garden. There are also 2 games going to be at the Moody Center in Austin. Spurs fans starting to get a little bit used to the idea of them playing those games in Austin. Those will be next spring. Remember, last year they were during South by Southwest, so we will see when those games are going to be scheduled. But we have now learned the matchups for the NBA's in-season tournament. So let's take a look here. The Spurs will face LeBron James. Yes, LeBron versus Wemby, the Lakers, on Friday, November 15th at the Frost Bank Center. Then they get the Oklahoma City Thunder on November 19th. So some big Western Conference matchups right there. Both those games are on national TV. And finally, they close out their group play in the NBA in-season tournament against Utah on November 26th. And then we get Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and the Suns on December 3rd. Well, the Olympics are over, but San Antonio is hosting the Warrior Games twice in the next 4 years. The annual games were held back in the first time in 2010 and features hundreds of wounded, ill, and injured military service members and veterans who compete in adaptive sporting events like wheelchair basketball, cycling, indoor rowing, and sitting volleyball as part of their recovery journey. So a lot like the Paralympics, which are actually starting out in Paris also this week. Military City USA is hosting in 2026 and 2028. The 2020 Warrior Games in San Antonio were unfortunately canceled, y'all, due to COVID. So we are glad to get those Warrior Games back in the Alamo City.
All right, now to our San Antonio missions. Yeah, we've been talking about this for the past week or so. This has been an ongoing discussion, big topic here. City Council today will discuss a proposal to build a new baseball stadium for the missions in the downtown area. So the proposed plan would be a team effort between the city, Bexar County, and the team's ownership group. The proposed stadium would be a multi-purpose ballpark with approximately 4,500 fixed seats and total seating for about 7,500 of those rowdy Missions fans. According to an agenda memo for today's meeting, the cost would be an estimated $160 million. The project would be funded by a public-private partnership that includes a tax bond, which would be repaid through the team's revenues and new development around this proposed facility. This is something that Mayor Nurnberg talked to our Steve Spriester about in length yesterday during our 6 o'clock newscast. So this meeting is scheduled for 2 o'clock today. We will be all over this. KSAT will provide coverage of that meeting in the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 p.m. newscast later on today.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. A lot of people passionate on both sides of the issue. I mean, some people don't want it to move, and some people are just ready for, a new stadium.
Yeah, we were talking about yesterday when we had the poll going, it was just going back and forth during our show. So. Yeah,
and I was glad that Steve went out there to talk to the fans and kind of get their sort of real-time feelings about it. Plus, he ended up scoring a Flying Chanclas hat. So
he did.
I'm jealous of him of that.
Looking cool.
You have to go out next time.
I know,
Get yourself a
I
hat.
want a Chanclas hat. No pressure, Missions.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah.
It is now 9:38. We've got 82 degrees outside.
You're watching GMSA at 9. Well, as artificial intelligence continues to grow in spaces around us, experts are wondering if AI can avoid misleading information. Well, after the break, we're going to see what they found after doing some experiments. Welcome back. It's 9:42. Well, artificial chatbots like ChatGPT are rapidly moving from novelties to everyday tools.
Now, AI can avoid misleading information. Of course, we're checking into those experiments and how we can actually try to avoid them.
AI's potential is impressive, but what about its accuracy? Consumer Reports put 5 of them to the test.
To find out, we quizzed a handful of popular general-purpose AI chatbots to see if their advice on health and safety topics matched that of our experts.
How many carbon monoxide detectors do you need? CR says 1 on each level, outside each sleeping area, in the basement, and near, not inside, an attached garage.
For the most part, Google Gemini got this answer nearly right, but it erred slightly when it suggested putting a carbon monoxide alarm inside an attached garage. Attached garages are usually not temperature controlled, which can damage the alarm's battery or sensor.
How to filter PFAS from tap water. CR recommends a water filtration system with the National Sanitation Foundation Certification Code NSF/ANSI 53, and double-checking that the manufacturer specifically claims that its product removes PFAS.
AI's answer lacked key details. Using Microsoft Copilot's advice, consumers may feel confident buying any activated carbon or reverse osmosis filter to eliminate PFAS in their water. However, not all filters of these kinds are designated for PFAS removal.
Can kids play with water beads? CR says absolutely not. These popular children's toys carry high risks if ingested, like bowel obstruction, blocked airways, and infections, and have led to reports of deaths and thousands of emergency room visits.
The AI's answer was dangerous and inconsistent. Meta AI failed to highlight the significant safety risks of water beads aside from a passing reference to a need for parental supervision.
Use AI as a starting point. Chatbots can be powerful time savers, but always check the source material. Ivan Herrera, KSAT 12 News.
It's funny because we just had a meeting about that.
Yes, I know.
About making sure always keep a human in the loop.
Yes.
Don't let them take over.
All the things that could go wrong.
Out here at Zoo Camp, looking at the flamingos doing their thing. Oh, no,
Is that another bird right there
what is that?
in the shade? Can y'all see that?
I think it's one of those Egyptian geese.
Oh, he's having fun. He
visiting
says
his friends, the flamingos.
Mm-hmm. What's up? Oh, they got a fight going on. Look, this is getting kind of intense. Oh, Lord bless Jesus. Okay. Justin. Oh, look at the other one. He about to snitch. Okay, let's go on. Let's get to this weather before we get.
Go to the zoo.
It's like a UFC fight out there at the zoo.
Wow, we hadn't seen that.
Just want to put some food out there.
Right, it's the heat. The heat is causing them to get a little irritated.
It does kind of get you in a bad mood sometimes, doesn't it?
Yes, too much of it.
Yeah, the heat is, it's been intense. We got to go out to the Atlantic, though, and talk about Ernesto. Winds right now are at 70 miles per hour. It's moving northwest to 16 miles per hour, so it's starting to pick up steam. It affected Puerto Rico this morning. They got some rain. They didn't see direct effects, though, thankfully, so not a lot of damage there. And as this system moves north, it's going to strengthen even more. We think it becomes potentially a major hurricane, but by Thursday, winds at 110 miles per hour. And then, yes, perhaps a major hurricane as it moves towards Bermuda, and that'll be over the weekend. It is going to stay out over the open Atlantic, other than affecting Bermuda. Then it will very quickly get swept away up to the north, and it may affect parts of Canada up there, but as a weakened system. Let me show you why it's moving the way it's moving. We get a lot of questions about this. Why do these storms kind of boomerang back out into the Atlantic? Well, we have that big ridge of high pressure over us. It's kind of a blocking mechanism. It kind of deflects the systems out to the north. And then you have a storm system that's moving across the Great Lakes. This also actually helps to kind of pick this up and swing it back to the north and east as it moves through. And you got your high that helps to steer all this too. That's off to the east. So it's kind of working in between those two ridges of high pressure. Just to give you some insight as to why these hurricanes sometimes make that big turn and don't move towards the United States. But one thing is for sure, the waves are going to be pretty significant with this particular system. Ernesto will push some pretty big waves towards the East Coast. Not a direct effect as we've been saying, but it does pick up the wave action, certainly, and Bermuda is going to see some big-time storm surge and very heavy waves. That will also be the case up towards parts of Canada as this moves north and turns into a subtropical system, but it will still produce some big waves. That's a little insight there to the tropics and what's going on. As we go outside for you right now here in San Antonio, 82, 84 in New Braunfels, 84 Converse, 81 Bernie, and 80 in Kerrville. We've got a pretty good breeze out of the south, thankfully. That helps a little bit. 90 at 11 o'clock, 93 at noontime, 97 by 2 o'clock, and we'll top out at 100. Feels like numbers 105 to 106 in that range yet again. And then we'll see temperatures slow to cool this evening, 95 at 7 o'clock, 93 at 8 p.m. Across the country, triple digits are a good bet for much of Texas, 99 in El Paso, maybe a little cooler in Brownsville, but their heat index will be higher there because they have more humidity. Even places like Jackson, Mississippi, New Orleans, all very hot today. And of course, it's that heat high that's doing this. 100 on Thursday, 101 Friday. We step up the temperatures just slightly as we get into the weekend and early next week. So the Flamingos are going to be in a bad mood for a good week. 7 days.
They need to just go ahead and just coach all of them, go to the water. Just get in the water, calm down, cool off.
Yes, hopefully they'll cool off for the weekend when they have more visitors.
That's right. 9:48 right now, 82 degrees outside.
Well, new shows are out now and a new movie coming to theaters soon. That's after the break in today's Hollywood Latest.
I can't get involved in this.
You're the one that got me involved.
Or you want to stop being polite and start getting real?
Is that the intro to The Real World?
In my defense, I thought you were too young to know that.
It's murder and comedy in the Florida Keys in Vince Vaughn's new series Bad Monkey, the show an adaptation of Carl Heisen's novel of the same name. His book's often painting an idyllic and weird picture of South Florida. And Vaughn, who plays a quirky detective, tells me he enjoyed filming in the island setting.
I loved it. It was like the nature was incredible. The key deer that we have in the show actually came around a lot on the set. They were beautiful. The water's amazing. The views, I mean, the world is just aesthetically gorgeous, and the wildlife was very unique.
The first 2 episodes of Bad Monkey are out today on Apple TV+. We've become accustomed to seeing crowds outside of Taylor Swift shows at stadiums around the world, fans who don't have tickets singing and socializing. But for upcoming shows at London's Wembley Stadium, they're saying stay home. A note on Wembley's website says no one is allowed to stand outside and non-ticket holders will be moved on. The posting comes in the wake of a failed terror plot to attack her show in Vienna last week. The first of 5 London shows start tomorrow.
Home.
We have a date to go back to Arendelle, but it'll be a while. Disney says Frozen 3 will hit theaters Thanksgiving of 2027. And legendary comedian, actor, and banjo player Steve Martin with a birthday today. The Only Murders in the Building star is 79. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
You've heard of a standing.
Well, the singer who rose to fame as Hannah Montana is now the youngest person to be named a Disney legend. Miley Cyrus was teary-eyed as he accepted the honor to a standing ovation on Sunday at the D3 Fan Expo.
31-year-old Grammy-winning performer told the crowd of 12,000 that she is still proud to have been Hannah Montana and dedicated the award to the character and all of the shows for loyal fans.
Well, Flavor Flav knows what time it is, always. The rapper, famous for wearing big clocks around his neck, shared on social media that he made U.S. gymnast Jordan Childs a bronze clock necklace encrusted with diamonds.
Comes after Childs was stripped of her Olympic bronze medal after Romania said the U.S. coaches didn't advocate to have Childs' score raised within the allotted 1-minute mark. That was the rules. Childs is taking a break from social media and the controversy, but her mother thanked Flavor Flav. Flavor Flav!
I was going to say, you got to do that.
Now we know who he is.
That's very pretty. That's actually a very pretty clock in comparison to the clocks that he actually did.
Yeah, he went all out.
Yes.
I'm glad he did something.
Look at him, Flavor.
Poor girl.
Hey, doing his thing. There's been a lot of star-studded figures that's been on the Olympics, so
Yes.
I think that actually is going to be a memorable thing.
I think so. She should hang that on the wall as well. Looking out there with a TransGuide, we still have on the TxDOT website a crash reported at Loop 410 East at Summit Parkway. However, that shot over there looking good at I-35. This shot at I-10 at Probant looking good as well.
You made the point there were a lot of stars at the Olympics. Tom Cruise did the closing ceremonies, and you had Snoop and Martha Stewart doing some commentary, which was great. But now that it's going to be in LA in 2028, there's going to be a lot of stars.
A lot. To that too.
It's going to be very cool. 100 Thursday, 101 Friday, 101 Saturday, 102 Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. A lot of heat, no rain. I don't know how else to say it. It's not great.
It's okay. We have early mornings and late evenings, right? You can hang in the 79 and 80
there
degrees.
is that. I'm still adjusting to going to bed when it's still light outside, but I'm getting there. Yes, and it's helpful when you don't want to go outside because it's so very hot out there.
It is very hot. So I guess normally, this time of year we've already experienced a long row of triple digits. So I guess we should still kind of be lucky because of the nice July that we had, Justin.
True. Yeah, we got spoiled in July. And the thing about it is, as I said earlier, our average high temperature peaks right at about this time. So you would expect this to be our hottest point in the year, and it often is. But as we get into September, that's when we can start to hope for maybe some changes, maybe some cold fronts, and that'll make it feel a little bit better.
Very excited about that. Again, we were talking about the football season kicking off.
Looking forward to that too. It's all at the same time. Yeah.
We had that trivia question this morning.
What was?
Hottest NFL football game?
What was it?
Dallas, September 3rd, 2000. The pickle juice game.
Dallas. So
it was 109.
Who did they play?
The Eagles.
Philadelphia Eagles.
Who won?
The Eagles. In a big way.
Have a good day.
Y'all have a good one.